spooky month, it's spooky month. I got an outfit ready, let me go get it. I found this hat and this cloak in a weird part of the library, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Hello! This is Bryony Rose Smith live from the Forbidden Library. Welcome. Do you like my outfit that I found in the library? And it went fine putting it on and nothing changed at all. No, not at all. I am still Bryony Rose Smith live from the Forbidden Library. And we like to read books. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Hi, everyone. Hi, Void. Hi, Q. Hi, Snow. Hi, Boris. Hi, Nomlet. Hi, Rare Candy Guy. Hi, Jobber Hop. Are my eyes different? No, of course my eyes aren't different. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. No glasses? No, yes. There is some witchcraft involved, which means I no longer need glasses when I have this cloak and hat on. They are somewhat magical. This is a magical library. So obviously there are some magical things to be had. Oh, I'm so glad you guys enjoy this. Woo! Yay! Attention. Anyway. You didn't. That's okay. You can make your tea how you want, I suppose. Thank you. My outfit is wonderful, isn't it? It is. But shall I get over here to the proper reading positions for proper reading time? And we were in the middle of a Sherlock Holmes story last week, I believe. Yes, we were. And I don't really want to carry it on. So I'm just gonna change this cover to be for Frankenstein because we don't need Sherlock Holmes. It is spooky month. Therefore, we want Frankenstein. Yay! I'll be honest, I didn't need glasses tomorrow. I would wear non-prescription glasses. I see, it is a part of your style now. What QR code? What are you on about? I'm not sure what you're talking about. And the problem with Frankenstein is because it is a free book, it doesn't really have much of a cover. So we're going to use this little cute Frankenstein chibi. Wait, that was the wrong thing I did. Oh no. I didn't change anything that I wasn't supposed to. I'm a perfect streamer. So obviously I didn't change anything. I'm the Bryony Rose Smith, who is an experienced streamer of a year and a bit. So obviously I did not make that mistake. There we go. Our just cute little Franken friend. Although we do know that Frankenstein is the professor, and this is the monster. No scuff. We do not want scuff. Scuff is unnecessary. Which Bryony get a lore video? Oh, well. I suppose I should think about that, shouldn't I? Lore videos. But for now, we should commence with Frankenstein. I am quite excited to read Frankenstein, as it is lauded as the first of any sci-fi book. And it is written by a woman. I always love it. I love it. I have not read it myself, but I love the legend that is Mary Shelley and her gothic queen ways. We shall read the letter of this queen. And it doesn't start with chapters. How interesting is that? It starts with letters. Letters. Letter 1. You're from Franconia, Franken in Germany. Oh, how very interesting. What a lovely coinky-dink. Letter 1 to Miss Sarvel, England. St. Petersburg, December 11th, 17 dash. Sometime in the 16th century, I believe, technically. Because it's very strange with centuries. You always think it is the one that it says. So you would assume that would be the 17th century, but you usually have to take one to actually know what century it is. So it would be the 16th century, or the 17th, or the 18th century. Actually, I am not sure. Do not quote me on that. I am not a historian. You will rejoice to hear that no disaster has accompanied the commerce of an entire enterprise which you have regarded with such evil forebodings. I arrived here yesterday, and my first task is to assure my dear sister of my welfare and increasing confidence in the success of my undertaking. I am already far north of London, and as I walk in the streets of Petersburg, I feel a cold northern breeze play upon my cheeks, which braces my nerves and fills me with delight. Do you understand this feeling? This breeze, which has travelled from regions towards which I am advancing, gives me a foretaste of those icy climes. Inspirited by the wind of promise, my daydreams become more fervent and vivid. I try in vain to be persuaded that the pole is the seat of frost and desolation, as ever presents itself to my imagination as the region of beauty and delight. There, Margaret, the sun is forever visible, its broad disk just shrinking in the horizon and diffusing a perpetual splendour. There, for with your leave, my sister, I will put some trust in preceding navigators. I have an idea I want to propose about the story of Witch Bryony. What do you suggest? Bryony finds a witch outfit that takes control of her mind, and Witch Bryony takes over the streets. Oh, that's such a wild idea. Why in the world would you say that? That's just so wild, Void. Why would you say that? I don't know. That's such a preposterous idea. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. But that's fine. That's fine. There, snow and frost are banished, and sailing over a calm sea, we may be wafted to a land surpassing in wonders, in beauty, ever religion hitherto discovered on the habitable globe. Its productions and features may be without example, as a phenomena of the heavenly bodies undoubtedly are in those undiscovered solitudes. What may not be expected in a country of eternal light? I may there discover the wondrous power which attracts the needle, and may regulate 1,000 celestial observations that require only this voyage to render their seeming eccentricities consider forever. I wanted it to be scary-ish, but not so scary that I'll be having nightmares in December. Oh, you sweet summer child. I really hope that I do not scare you so much. I don't want to scare you away. As long as you're good, I'm sure everything will be fine. I won't have to do anything or hurt anyone. Yee. I may there discover the wondrous power, blah, 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 blah. Where are are we up to? I shall satiate my adherent curiosity with the sight of a part of a world never before visited, and may tread a land never before imprinted by the foot of man. You're scared? Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah. Oh, apples are lovely. They're better when you give them to other people, though. Especially fair maidens. I mean, why would you do that? It's not like they'd be poisoned or anything. Ah! Nah! No scuff! No scuff! There is no scuff on this stream. What are you talking about? No scuff! We don't do scuff. I am the wonderful, experienced streamer, Briny Rose Smith, and there is no scuff. No scuff. No. I have lost my place. Completely. This is terrible. You are safe from witches. I wouldn't take an apple since you are allergic to them. I see. We'd have to, figure out a different plan of action for you then. Oh, hello, Lukaya. Welcome to the stream. I am absolutely wonderful. This new body, I mean, this stream is going wonderfully, and my new outfit is wonderful, don't you think? We are reading some Frankenstein. Oh, I look forward to seeing what the legend is about. I may there discover the wondrous power. I've read that. Aha, it was simply the last sentence on this page. That's all I had left. These are my enhancements. Thank you. I'm so glad you find it adorable. I think I am adorable too. And these are my enticements, and they are sufficient to conquer all fear of danger or death, and to... Ah, wrong button. No, the correct button. What do you want about? I was testing you. Induce me to commence this laborious voyage. Yes, I mean, my eyes are always red. What do you want about? There's no changes like that, obviously. Oh, you think this is a Jessie voice? James! Meowth! Kind of is, isn't it? Kind of is, isn't it? It is a very Jessie voice. I could definitely play a Jessie with this, yes. Induce me to commence this laborious voyage with the joy a child feels when he embarks in a little boat. This with his holiday mates on an expedition of discovery. One hot minute, I need to do something extra. You thought they were purple before? Oh, maybe. But I don't think so. Obviously, I've been like this the whole time. Obviously, the whole time I've been like this. Yes, yes, it's the whole time. With the joy of a child feels when he embarks in a little boat with his holiday mates on an expedition of discovery up his native river. But suppose all these conjectures to be false, you cannot contest the insurmountable benefit which I shall confer on all mankind, to the last generation, by discovering a passage near the pole to those countries, to reach which at present so many months are requisite. Blah, 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 blah. Or by ascertaining the secret of the magnet, which, if at all possible, can only be effected by an undertaking such as mine. These reflections have dispelled the agitation with which I began my letter, and I feel my heart glow with an enthusiasm which elevates me to heaven. for nothing contributes so much to tranquilize the mind as a steady propose, a point on which the soul may fix its intellectual eye. This expedition has been a favorite dream of my early years, and I have read with ardor the accounts of the various voyages which have been made in prospect of arriving at the North Pacific Ocean through the seas which surround the pole. Are you going to lurk, Luke? Well, that is fine. I know I'm cool and funny and nice. Oh, compliment me more. It's wonderful. But you have a good lurk and a good nap. You get some good rest, yes. Why do you look like Marise Kishime if she were a 3D 4K gacha game? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm just talented. I assume that Marisa Kishime is that the gambling girl from the anime with the gambling and the lewd reactions to said gambling. Or have I got it completely wrong? I'm not sure. I don't completely recognize the name. But saying that I'm a gacha character is something of a compliment. They are always, oh, so detailed. And they make artists cry. Or at least myself, with my meager art skills, they make me cry. Yes, they do. Ah, a Toho character! Nyaruhodo! She's an ordinary witch human. I don't think being a witch human makes you ordinary. That seems like a bit of an oxymoron. By discovering a passage near the pole to countries, I did read that bit. Oh, lordy, I'm so bad at marking my place. Maybe I should make sure I have my cursor on it. And then that way it'd be a bit easier, but I might distract you as well, and I do not want that. No, we don't want you distracted from the reading. So let me turn off cursor capture so that only I can see my cursor. That makes everything better for everyone, don't you think? You like this new Brady? Oh, what if she stayed forever? This would be wonderful, wouldn't it? You don't want the other Briny back at all. That's what I hoped. But what if secretly we are all witch humans? I mean, I suppose that is possible, that you could all be witch humans. So you simply have not had the training to be able to craft magical spells. That may be the issue. There are many a witch in the world. You want this new Briny to stay forever? Wonderful. Wonderful. Ah! Wait! No! Other Briny? What are you talking about? I didn't say other Briny. I am Bryony. I am Bryony Rose Smith, live from the Forbidden Library. I said no such thing, Boris. No such thing. No. There is no other Bryony. I am the Bryony. I've always been the Bryony. I am forever the Bryony. The Bryony is me. Yes. 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 Now, where in the world was I? I am sure, and if you don't stop questioning it, there will be trouble. Because why would I not be Bryony? I'm just Bryony in a different outfit. You must be quite challenged to think that I am someone else simply because I put on a new outfit. Are you the people who do not realize that Clark Kent is Superman? Oh, yes, I am in fact Bryony. It is Bryony. It has always been the Bryony. I am the Bryony. Yes, definitely Bryony. Bryony who cannot figure out where the hell she was on this page. So do you know what that tells me I need to do more than anything? I need less words on the page. So let me see if I can make the font size bigger. And therefore, with less words on a page, there's less for me to get confused. So let me fiddle with things a little bit. That sounds a bit dirty. Let's not say it like that. Let me change the settings. Oh, Void. Oh, Void. But I am brainy. 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 I am. But yes, plot, story, things. But where in the world was I? Native River, yes, we read that. We are on to the next paragraph. Yes. The reflections have been dispelled by my agitation. Yes. And his heart glows, yes, with enthusiasm which elevates me to heaven. For nothing contributes so much to tranquilize the mind as a steady purpose, a point on which the soul may fix its intellectual eye. This expedition has been the favorite dreams of my early years. You are a void dweller. I am void dweller. 37 different times, I tell myself. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're very sure on who you are. As am I. I am brainy. Yes. This expedition has been the favorite dream of my early years. Oh, no, I have read this. Oh, well, let's go from here anyway. I have reached the ardor of the... Yes, you read the ardor of many accounts of people arriving at the North Pacific Ocean through the seas which surrounded the pole. You may remember that history of all voyages made for our purposes of discovery composed the whole of our good Uncle Thomas's library. No worries, Snow Taco. It is very important to look after your fleshy vessels. They do require much maintenance and much food and many other things. It is actually going to be rather annoying. No, it's not going to be rather annoying. It's something I have dealt with my whole life. Of course. My education was neglected, yet I was passionately fond of reading. These volumes were my study day and night, and my familiarity with them increased that regret which I had felt as a child on learning that my father's dying injunction had forbidden my uncle to allow me to embark on a seafaring life. Can I turn you into a cat? I suppose I could try. I might be able to do it in the Discord, actually. Give me a minute. This may take a moment to gather my power. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Void the cat. You are now a cat on the Discord. These are my great powers. Unfortunately, I cannot change you here, but I could do it there. Oh no, my plan to try keep my place didn't work. I moved my mouse, therefore I lost my place. Oh, silly me. My education was neglected and they read a lot. I see, they are book smart. As a child, on learning and then the seafaring life, yes. These visions faded when I perused, for the first time, those poets who enchanted my soul and lifted it to heaven. I also became a poet, and for 1 year lived in a paradise of my own creation. I imagined that I also might obtain a niche in the temple where the names of Homer and Shakespeare are consecrated. You are well acquainted with my failure, and how heavily I bore the disappointment. But just at that time, I inherited the fortune of my cousin, and my thoughts were turned into the channel of their earlier bent. 6 years have passed since I resolved on my present undertaking. I can, even now, remember the hour from which I dedicated myself to this great enterprise. I commenced by injuring my body. I don't believe that is injuring. There is no J. Is that a look-up word? Yes. I would like to look up this word. Yes, Google. I don't care. Inuring, accustomed to something unpleasant. Okie dokie. Thank you, Google. That was very helpful. Have I watched Naruto? I have knowledge of Naruto and this Sharingan which you speak of. I could see where you are finding the connections. They are very red. As they have always been. I commenced by inuring my body to hardship. I accompanied the whale fishers on several expeditions to the North Sea. I voluntarily endured cold, famine, thirst, and want for sleep. I often worked harder than the common sailors during the day, and devoted my nights to the study of mathematics. More like Hunter x Hunter Scarlet Eyes. Oh yes, more like them, most definitely. Oh, couple of bunkies, no problem. I do enjoy reading to people. That is my Briny Rose Smith's pleasure to do such a thing. Ho, 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 ho. The theory of medicine and those branches of physical science from which a naval adventurer might derive the greatest practical advantage. Twice I actually hired myself as an undermate in a Greenland whaler and acquitted myself to admiration. I must own, I felt a little proud when my captain offered me the second dignity in the vessel and entrenched me to remain with the greatest earnestness. So valuable did he consider my services. And now, dear Margaret, I do not deserve to have accomplished some great purpose. Do I not? It is my Briny Rose Smith's pleasure to read to you. Yes, it is. It is correct. I see nothing wrong with this statement. And now, dear Margaret, do I not deserve to accomplish some great purpose? My life might have been passed in ease and luxury, but I preferred glory to every enticement that wealth placed on my path. Oh, that some encouraging voice would answer in the affirmative. My courage, my resolution is firm, but my hopes fluctuate, and my spirits are often depressed. I am about to proceed on a long and difficult voyage, the emergencies for which will demand my fortitude. I am required not only to raise the spirits of others, but sometimes to sustain my own when theirs are failing. This is the most formidable period for traveling in Russia. They fly quickly over the snow in their sledges. The motion is pleasant and, in my opinion, far more agreeable than that of an English stagecoach. The cold is not excessive, and if you are wrapped in furs, a dress which I have already adopted, for there is a great difference between walking the deck and remaining seated motionless for hours. When no exercise prevents the blood from actually freezing in your veins, I have no ambition to lose my life on the post road between St. Petersburg and Archangel. I shall depart for the latter town in a fortnight for 3 weeks, and my intention is to hire a ship there, which can easily be done by paying the insurance for the owner, and to exchange as many sailors as I think necessary among those who are accustomed to whale fishing. I've travelled by sled across country. Seems fun. Taking a nap on a mound of snow, though, is really nice when the weather isn't too cold. I imagine so. I imagine snow can be quite comfortable. However, you would wake up rather wet, would you not? I don't see how that would be very comfortable. What do you think about horror stories made by mortals? I mean, other horror authors. Oh, well, what an interesting choice of words there for it. Yes, it would simply be other authors. Well, it all depends. I have not read too many. Before, I was not too much of a fan of horror, but today I feel much better about horror. So, I will be endeavouring to read a little bit more spooky things for Spooky Month. What did I even get up to? I do not intend to sail until the month of June. And when shall I return? Ah, dear sister, how can I answer such a question? If I succeed, many, many months, perhaps years, will pass before you and I may meet. If I fail, you will see me again soon, or never. Ibrahim, welcome. Yes, it is Spooky Month. When the snow is compacted, you don't really get wet, as long as the temperature is right. I may have some practice. Oh, very good, very good. Very wise. He knows the snow, knows what will melt and knows what will not. The only thing I really know about snow is to not eat it when it is yellow. Though I do not know why you would eat it in the first place. I don't think I've ever seen snow that seemed appetizing. Yes. Appetizing snow. I suppose there are snow cones, but the only time I've ever seen snow cones has been on holiday. And whenever I saw the snow cones, all the syrup was surrounded by flies and wasps due to the sugar. And that somewhat put me off ever having a snow cone, really. Not for me, not for me. Farewell, my dear, excellent Margaret. Heaven shower down blessings on you, and save me, that I may again and again testify my gratitude for all your love and kindness. Your affectionate brother, R. Walton. I don't know, Brownie. I think brown snow kind of smells like spoiled milk. Well, that just makes it, terrible. Is another type of horror. Is this another type of horror? I suppose so. Oh, this is sci-fi. Technically, Frankenstein is sci-fi. The most obvious book I could have read for Halloween would have been Dracula. But I did not really feel like reading Dracula. I was more interested in Mary Shelley's work. Therefore, I wanted to read Frankenstein. I thought it was close enough that, we could do it. Future cheese? That's a very interesting phrase. That bit of wisdom nearly caused me to choke on my glass of water. Well, I'm glad you didn't die, Boris. I do need mods. Yes, you're very important. In Canada, sometimes you can get maple snow candy. It's made by pouring boiling syrup into the snow. It becomes taffy-like. Oh, well, that sounds fascinating. Now that sounds like something appetizing made in the snow. I bet that's wonderful. And how very Canadian, with the syrup and everything. Dang, man, which brainy didn't pick up a FNAF book? Well, we would have problems with permissions with the FNAF books, unfortunately. So, of course, I did not pick up a FNAF book. We won't be going for that low-hanging fruit. We're here for a bit of culture. We are reading the first science fiction book. Does that not excite you? Does that not make you interested to see the birth of a genre? Not only was a monster created in this book and given life, so was an entire genre that has been expanded and loved for decades, hundreds of years. It is exciting. I am excited, or at least that is the main excitement I have around this book. Letter number 2 to Miss Salvadell, England. Archangel, 28th of March, 17. Mary Shelley is the best Shelley Noko-chan. That is entirely correct, yes. I need to drink more, because my body, I'm going to stop that sentence. You're happy with this note? Very good, very good. I am excited too. I am happy. Yes, very happy. Let us continue. One of the first isekai. I'm not sure how it fits into that. I'm not sure. But I suppose I will try to agree with you and question that when I have read more, because at the moment I'm really not sure what you mean. How slowly the time passes here, encompassed as I am by frost and snow, yet a second step is taken towards my enterprise. I have hired a vessel and am occupied in collecting my sailors. Those who have already engaged appear to be men of whom I can depend, and are certainly possessed of dauntless courage. But I have one want which I have never yet been able to satisfy, and the absence of the object of which I now feel as the most severe evil. I have no friend, Margaret. When I am glowing with enthusiasm of success, there will be none to participate in my joy. If I am assailed by disappointment, no one will endeavour to sustain me in my dejection. I shall commit my thoughts to paper, it is true, but that is a poor medium for the communication of feeling. Hey, Bryony, I know you can cast Fireball and cast Wind, but can I... Buttons. Cast Iron? No, I've not. I am no blacksmith, that is for sure. Although I do have a smith at the end of my name. You do have many smiths, you see. At the moment I am something of a spell smith, or a word smith, if you will. I shall commit my thoughts to paper. It is true that is a poor medium for communication of feeling. I desire the company of a man who could sympathize with me, whose eyes would reply to mine. You may deem me a romantic, my dear sister, but I bitterly feel the want for a friend. I have no one near to me, yet gentle yet courageous, possessed of a cultivated as well as of capricious mind, whose tastes are like my own, one ought to approve or amend my plans. How would such a friend repair the faults to your poor brother? I am too ardent in execution and too impatient of difficulties, but it is still a greater evil to me that I am self-educated. For the first 14 years of my life I ran wild on a common and read nothing but our Uncle Thomas's books of voyages. At that age I became acquainted with the celebrated poets of our own country, but it was only when it had ceased to be in my power to derive its most important benefits from such a conviction that I persevered. the necessity of becoming acquainted with more languages than that of my native country. I am now 28, and I am in reality more illiterate than many schoolboys of 15. It is true that I have thought more, and that my daughters are more extended and magnificent, but they want, as the painter's calling it, keeping. And I generally greatly need a friend who would have sense enough not to despise me as a romantic, and affection enough for me to endeavour to regulate my mind. Imposter! I am no imposter. I am Bryony Rose Smith. I am no imposter. I have been streaming for a year. You should know me by now. You should know. This is me. I have always been this way. Yes. Boris has it right. I have always been this way. What are you on about? Yes. Completely been this way. Yes. Completely been this way. Do not question it. Don't question anything. There's nothing to question. There's nothing to question. Anyway, we are reading a book. Well, these are useless complaints. I shall certainly find no friend on the wide ocean, nor even here in Archangel, among the mercenaries and seamen. Yet some feelings allied in the dorms of human nature beat even in these rugged bosoms. My lieutenant, for instance, is a man of wonderful courage and enterprise. He is madly desirous of glory, or rather, to word my phrase more characteristically, of advent in his profession. What are you talking about, overseer? That's not an imposter, and even if she was an imposter, this Brady is better. I'm not an imposter, but I'm glad you think I have improved my streaming, obviously. Yes, Nomelet has known me for a very long time. This is completely normal. Everything is normal. Everything is fine. Yes. He is an Englishman, and in the midst of national and professional prejudices, unsoftened by cultivation, he retains some of the noblest endowments of humanity. I first became acquainted with him on board a whale vessel. Finding that he was unemployed in this city, I eagerly engaged him to assist in my enterprise. The master is a person of excellent disposition, and is remarkable in the ship for his gentleness, and the mindfulness of his discipline. The circumstance, added to his well-known integrity and dauntless courage, made me very desirous to engage him. A youth passed in solitude, my best years spent under your gentle and feminine fosterage, has so refined the groundwork of my character that I cannot overcome an intense distaste to the brutality exercised on board the ship. I have never believed it to be necessary. He's totally normal and doesn't say, Yes, I am Bryony Rose Smith. Yes. On second thought, everything is up to space. Must be sleep. Yes, it is very much sleep playing tricks on you. Yes. Very much so. Yes, I am better. I am improved. Where even was I? I forgot. 1 minute. I do need to blow this annoying nose. I will mute myself due to gross noises. Okay, done. What an inconvenience noses are. Yes, I'm saying I am improved. I am improved. I have leveled up in my streaming because I have always been me. That I've always been Briny Rose Smith. I have improved, yes. And I am glad you are enjoying the improvement, yes. A youth passed in solitude. Wait, no. The master is a person of excellent disposition, and is remarkable in the ship for his gentleness, and the mildness of his discipline. This circumstance, added to his well-known integrity and dauntless courage, made me very desirous to engage him. A youth passed in solitude, and I'm very sorry for repeating it. I wasn't sure what I had done not. Yes. He said that because he was raised by a good woman, he does not like the brutality of ships and sailors. Therefore, he was very happy when he got a very nice captain. Yes. I have never believed it to be necessary, and when I heard of a mariner equally noted for his kindliness of heart and the respect and obedience paid to him by his crew, I felt myself particularly fortunate in being able to secure his services. I heard of him first in rather a romantic manner from a lady who owes him the happiness of her life. This, briefly, is his story. Some years ago, he loved a Russian lady of moderate fortune, and having amassed a considerable sum of prize money, the father of the girl consented to the match. He saw his mistress once before the destined ceremony, but she was bathed in tears, and throwing herself at his feet, entrenched him to spare her, confessing at the same time that she loved another. But he was poor, and that her father would never consent to the union. My generous friend reassured the suppliant, on being informed of the name of her lover, instantly abandoned his pursuit. He had already bought a farm with his money, on which he had designed to pass the remainder of his life, but he bestowed this whole on his rival, together with the remains of his prize money to purchase stock, and then himself solicited the young woman's father to consent to her marriage with her lover. But the old man decidedly refused, thinking himself bound in honour to my friend, who, when he found the father inexorable, acquitted his country, nor returned until he heard that his former mistress was married according to her inclinations. What a noble fellow, you will exclaim. He is so... No, go away, menu, I don't want you. He is so, but then he is wholly uneducated. He is as silent as a Turk, and a kind of ignorant carelessness attends to him, which, while it renders his conduct the more astonishing, detracts from the interest and sympathy which otherwise he would command. Yet do not suppose, because I complain a little, or because I can conceive a consolation for my toils, which I may never know, that I am wavering in my resolutions. Those are fixed as fate, and my voyage is now no Those are fixed as fate, and my voyage is now delayed until the weather shall permit my embarkation. Embarkation, now that is definitely a word we do not use anymore. The winter has been dreadfully severe, but the spring promises well, and it is considered as a remarkably early season, so that perhaps I may sail sooner than expected. I shall do nothing rashly. You know me sufficiently to confide in my prudence and considerateness wherever the safety of others is committed to my care. I cannot describe to you my sensations on the near prospect of my undertaking. It is impossible to communicate to you the conception of the trembling sensation, half pleasurable, half fearful, with which I am preparing to depart. I am going to unexplored regions, to the land of mist and snow. But I shall kill no albatross. Therefore, do not be alarmed for my safety, or if I should come back to you as worn and woeful as the ancient mariner, you will smile at my illusion. But I will disclose a secret. I have often attributed my attachment to my passionate enthusiasm for the dangerous mysteries of the ocean to that production of the most imaginative of modern poets. There is something at work in my soul which I do not understand. I am practically industrious, painstaking, a workman to execute with perseverance and labour. But besides this, there is a love for the marvellous, a belief in the marvellous intertwined in all my projects, which hurries me out of the common pathways of men, even to the wild sea and unvisited regions I am about to explore. But to return to the dearer considerations, I shall meet you again after having traversed immense seas and returned by the most southern cape of Africa or America. I dare not expect such success, yet I cannot bear to look on the reserve of the picture. Continue for the present to write to me by every opportunity. I may receive your letters on some occasions when I need them most to support my spirits. I love you tenderly. Remember me with affection, should you never hear from me again. Your affectionate brother, Robert Walton. Well, that was wonderful. He's off to the poles to explore what has not been explored. And he manages to write again. In July 7th, so let's just have a look. I was in March, April, May, July, so this is about 3 months later. My dear sister, I write a few lines in haste. Oh, which brownie for life? Yes, of course. That I am safe and well advanced on my voyage. This letter will reach England by merchantman, now that its homeward voyage from Archangel. More fortunate than I, who may not see my native land, perhaps for many years. I am, however, in good spirits. My men are bold and apparently firm for purpose, nor do the floating sheets of ice continually pass us, indicating the dangers of the region towards which we are advancing, appear to dismay them. We have already reached a very high latitude, but it is the height of summer, and although not so warm as England, the southern gales which blow us speedily towards the shores, which I so ardently desire to obtain, breathe a degree of renovating warmth which I had not expected. No incidents have hitherto befallen us that would make a figure in a letter. It's interesting from my soul's small sample size of Frankenstein and Dracula that they tell their stories through letter correspondence. It is a very interesting way of writing a story. At least this one starts this way. It does begin in chapters later on. So I am not certain that this book does entirely read through thingy. Words. I need them. Wherefore art thou gone, words? Brain. I'm not entirely certain that the entirety of this book is written in this style, but we will find out together. At the moment we are 4% through, so who knows? Who knows? 1 or 2 stiff gales and the springing of a leak are accidents which experienced navigators scarcely remember to record, and I shall be well content if nothing worse happens during our voyage. Adieu, my dear Margaret. Be assured that for my own sake, as well as yours, I will not rashly encounter danger, and will be cool, persevering, and prudent. But the success shall crown my endeavours. Wherefore not? Thus far have I gone, tracing a secure way over the pathless seas, the very stars themselves being witness and testimonies of my triumph. Hello, Manda! Welcome to the stream! My apologies for the stream element spot. My browser seems to be refreshing every 2 seconds, and therefore stream element spot keeps trying to reconnect, so I do apologize. I made a Reddit post. Yes, I make Reddit posts every single stream I do. Yes. I make 4 Reddit posts actually every single stream. Every single one. Yes. But success shall not crown my endeavours. Wherefore not? Thus far I have gone, tracing a secure way over the pathless seas, the very stars themselves being witness, and I just read that. Oh no! Why not still proceed over the untamed yet obedient element? What can stop the determined heart and resolved will of man? My swelling heart involuntarily pours itself out thus. But I must finish. Heaven bless my beloved sister, R.W. The 4th letter. In August, so this is July, June, July, August. So this is only 1 month later. Yes, apparently Stream Element Spots approves as well. Oh, very lovely. Lovely. So strange an accident has happened to us that I cannot forbear recording it, although it is probable that you will see me before these papers can come into your possession. Last Monday, July 31st, we were nearly surrounded by ice, which enclosed the ship on all sides, scarcely leaving her the sea room in which she floated. Our situation was somewhat dangerous, especially as we were compassed round by a very thick fog. We accordingly lay to, hoping that some change would take place in the atmosphere and weather. About 2 o'clock the mist cleared away, and we beheld, stretched out in every direction, vast irregular plains of ice. Can we get turkey brownie for November? No, you do not get turkey brownie for November. That is a very specifically American thing, and I do not want to. Gobble, gobble, no. About 2 o'clock in the mist cleared away, and we beheld and stretched which seemed to have no end. Some of my comrades groaned, and my own mind began to grow watchful with anxious thoughts, when a strange sight suddenly attracted our attention, and diverted our solicitude from our situation. We perceived a low carriage fixed on a sledge and drawn by dogs, passed on towards the north, at the distance of half a mile. A being which had the shape of a man, but apparently of gigantic stature, sat in the sled and guided the dogs. We watched the rapid progress of the traveller with our telescopes, until he was lost among the distance inequalities of the ice. This appearance excited our unqualified wonder. We were, as we believed, many hundreds of miles from any land, but this apparition seemed to denote that it was not in reality so distant as we supposed. Shut in, however, by ice, it was impossible to follow his track, which we had observed with the greatest attention. About 2 hours after this occurrence, we heard the ground sea, and before night the ice broke and freed our ship. We, however, lay until the morning, fearing to encounter the dark, those large loose masses which float about after breaking up of the ice. I profited of this time to rest for a few hours. In the morning, however, as it was light, I went up upon the deck, and found all the sailors busy on one side of the vessel, apparently talking to someone in the sea. It was, in fact, a sledge, like we had seen before, which had drifted towards us in the night on a large fragment of ice. Only one dog remained alive, but there was a human being within it, whom the sailors were persuading to enter the vessel. He was not, as the traveller seemed to be, a savage inhabitant of some undiscovered island, but a European. When I appeared on the deck, the master said, "Here's our captain, and he will not allow you to perish in the open sea." On perceiving me, the stranger addressed me in English, although with a foreign accent. "Before I come aboard your vessel," he said, "will you have the kindness to inform me whither you are bound?" You may conceive my astonishment on hearing such a question addressed to me from a man on the brink of destruction, and to whom I should have supposed that my vessel would be a resource which he would have exchanged for the most precious wealth the earth can afford. I replied, however, that we were on a voyage of discovery towards the North Pole. Upon hearing this, he appeared satisfied, and consented to come aboard. Good God, Margaret! If you had seen this man, who thus catapulted for the safety, who Yes, that is how it goes back in the day, obviously. Obviously. We have learnt a lot since then, haven't we? Yes, we have. We should not assume that people are savages just because they are not European, or they are not white, or they are not American. Yes, we do not do that anymore, but this is back in the day. You may conceive my astonishment. Blah, blah, blah. Good God, Margaret, if you had seen this man who thus catapulted for his safety, your surprise would have been boundless. His limbs were nearly frozen, and his body dreadfully emancipated by fatigue and suffering. I never saw a man in so wretched a condition. We attempted to carry him into the cabin, but as soon as we had quitted the fresh air, he fainted. We accordingly brought him back to the deck, and restored him to animation by rubbing him with brandy and forcing him to swallow a small quantity. As soon as he showed signs of life, we wrapped him up in blankets and placed him near the chimney of the kitchen stove. By slow degrees he recovered, and ate a little soup, which restored him wonderfully. 2 days passed in this manner before he was able to speak, and I often feared that his sufferings had deprived him of understanding. When he had, in some measure, recovered, I removed him to my own cabin, and attended to him as much as my duty would permit. I never saw a more interesting creature. His eyes have generally an expression of wildness and even madness, but there are moments when, if anyone performs an act of kindness towards him, or does any the most trifling service, his whole countenance is lightened up, as it were, with a beam of benevolence and sweetness that I never saw equalled. But he is generally melancholy and despairing, and sometimes he gnashes his teeth, as if impatient of the weight of woes that oppresses him. When my guest was a little recovered, I had great trouble to keep him off the men, who wished to ask him 1,000 questions. But I would not allow him to be tormented by their idle curiosity. In a state of body and mind whose restoration evidently depended on entire repose. Once, however, the lieutenant asked why he had come so far upon the ice in so strange a vehicle. His countenance instantly assumed an aspect of the deepest gloom, and he replied, "To seek one who fled from me." "And did the man whom you pursued travel in the same fashion?" "Yes." "Then I fancy we have seen him, for the day before we picked you up, we saw dogs drawing a sledge with a man in it across the ice." This aroused the stranger's attention. He asked a multitude of questions concerning the route which the demon, as he called him, had pursued. Soon after, when he was alone with me, he said, "I have doubtless excited your curiosity, as well as that of these these good people, but you are too considerate to make inquiries." "Certainly. It would indeed be very impertinent and inhumane of me to trouble you with any inquisitivities of mine. Inquisitivity. You know, you can read it. You can read it. "And yet you rescue me, from a strange and perilous situation. You have benevolently restored me to life." Soon after this, he inquired if I thought that the breaking up of the ice had destroyed the other sledge. I replied that I could not answer with any degree of certainty, for the ice had not broken until near midnight, and the traveller might have arrived at a place of safety before that time, but of this I could not judge. From this time, a new spirit of life animated the decaying frame of the stranger. Oh, I do like the wording used in this. Obviously, we know that this is about animating corpses and things, so I very much like the language used to describe this stranger. That he is a new spirit of life animated from the decaying frame of the stranger. How lovely, how lovely. What foreshadowing, what lovely. He manifested the greatest eagerness to be upon deck to watch for the sledge, which had appeared before, but I have to persuade him to remain in the cabin, for he is far too weak to sustain the rawness of the atmosphere. I have promised that someone should watch for him for now, and give him instant notice if any new object should appear in sight. Such is my journal of what relates to this strange occurrence up to this present day. The stranger has gradually improved in health, but is very silent and appears uneasy when anyone except myself enters his cabin. Yet his manners are so conciliating and gentle that the sailors are all interested in him, although they have very little communication with him. For my own part, I begin to love him as a brother, and his constant and deep grief fills me with sympathy and compassion. He must have been a noble creature in his better days, being even now in wreck so attractive and admirable. I said in one of my letters, my dear Margaret, that I should find no friend on the wide ocean. Yet I have found a man who, before his spirit had been broken by misery, I should have been happy to have possessed as a brother of my heart. I shall continue my journal concerning the stranger at intervals, should I have a fresh incident to record. Nyarahado. I am going to quickly go and be right back because this body apparently needs to use the bathroom. I mean, I need to use the bathroom. Be right back. No. That was my end card. I can't do that. No. We got to be right back. Back. Let's see what you have been talking about in the chat, shall we? What is this? OG Brainy? I am the OG Brainy. What are you talking about? Oh, what strange things you have been talking about in the chat. I am Brainy. Why would there ever be a collab with two of me? There isn't two of me, is there? There is not two of me. I am but me. This is Brainy now. Do you understand? I'm glad you all understand. Shall we carry on? Yes. My affection for my guest increases every day. He exercises at 1. Yes, which Bridie is the only Bridie? Yes, I'm glad you all understand. I'm glad you all understand. No one has to get hurt. I mean, yes, you are all valued and appreciated. Yes. If I was a font, what font would I be? I have no clue. I am not that good with fonts. I am not a graphic designer, most definitely not. I do have a GCSE in graphic design, so technically, yes, I do have one qualification in graphic design. But I did not carry on my studies and did not get into it. I am glad that other people know their fonts well enough to explain themselves as a font. I am definitely not a comic or a sand, that is for sure. Or a papyrus. I definitely could not stand up to those two. August 13th, 17. How many days has happened? How many days? So this was August 5th. So this is about what? 8 days? 8 days. Oh, that was too far. August 13th. 8 days. Windings crew. Oh, yes. Windings is funny. Wait, Bryony, why would you care if you were taken over by a witch? Which you probably weren't. You're much better than not witch, Bryony. I want you to stay possessed, if that's like okay. Well, Void, you are one of my minions now. That's wonderful. Back to the book. My affection for my guest increases every day. He excites at once my admiration and my pity to an astonishing degree. How can I see so noble a creature destroyed by misery without feeling the most poignant grief? He is so gentle and yet so wise. His mind is so cultivated, and when he speaks, although his words are culled with the choicest art, yet they flow with rapid and unparalleled eloquence. Oh, I do love the no homo here. He is my friend. But this is kind of the thing, that back then men could be a little bit more poetic and things, and not have to worry about saying no homo, which is interesting. I don't know whether to go, haha, homo, or to go, yes, you go, bro. Because, you know, we shouldn't be jumping to homo sometimes, so that men can be a bit more flowery together if they wish to be, without being thrown in as homo. But it also could be homo. Do your own headcanoning. He is now much recovered from his illness and is continually on the deck, apparently watching for the sledge that has preceded his own. Yet, although unhappy, he is not so utterly occupied by his own misery, but that he interests himself deeply in the project of others. He has frequently conversed with me on mine, which I have communicated to him without disguise. He entered attentively into all of my arguments in favour of my eventual success, and into every minute of detail of the measures. Flowery, as in flowery language. Beautiful language. Language that flows well. Language that invokes imagery. If men could be a little flowery with each other. That's probably not really the right usage of the word, but it gets along the feeling that I wish to express. So flowery with each other is the way we're going. I was easily led by the sympathy which he evinced to use the language of my heart, to give utterance to the burning ardour of my soul, and to say, with all fervour that warmed me, how gladly I would sacrifice my fortune, my existence, my every hope to the furtherance of my enterprise. One man's life or death were but a simple price to pay for the acquirement of the knowledge which I sought, for the dominion I should acquire and transmit over the elemental foes of our race. As I spoke, a dark gloom spread over my listener's countenance. At first I perceived that he tried to suppress his emotion. He placed his hand before his eyes, and my voice quivered and failed me as I beheld tears trickling fast from between his fingers. A groan burst from his heaving breast. I paused at length. He spoke in broken accents. "Unhappy man! Do you share my madness? Have you drunk also of the intoxicating draught? Hear me! Let me reveal my tale, and you will dash the cup from your lips." Such words, you may imagine, strongly excited my curiosity. But the paroxysm of grief that had seized the stranger overcame his weakened prowess, and many hours of repose and tranquil conversation were necessary to restore his composure. Having conquered the violence of his feelings, he appeared to despise himself for being the slave of passion, and quelling the dark tyranny of despair, he led me again to converse concerning myself personally. He asked me of the history of my earlier years. The tale was quickly told, but it awakened various trains of reflection. I spoke of my desire of finding a friend, of my thirst for a more intimate sympathy with a fellow mind that had ever fallen to my lot, and expressed my conviction that a man could boast of little happiness who would not enjoy this blessing. "I agree with you," replied the stranger. "We are unfashioned creatures, but half made up. If one wiser, better, dearer than ourselves, such a friend ought to be. Do not lend his aid to perfectionate our weak and faulty natures. I once had a friend, the most noble of human creatures, and I am entitled, therefore, to judge respecting friendship. I have hope and the world before you, and have no cause for despair, but I have lost everything and cannot begin life anew." "Oh, don't worry about Minecraft. I won't be playing that pittance. I do not feel like it." Maybe taking a small break from Minecraft while I am around. As they said this, his countenance became expressive of a calm, settled grief that touched me to the heart. But he was silent, and presently retired to his cabin. Even broken in spirit as he is, no one can feel more deeply than he does the beauties of nature, the starry sky, the sea, and the sight of every sight afforded to these wonderful regions seem to have the power of elevating his soul from the earth. Such a man has a double existence. He may suffer misery and be overwhelmed by disappointments. Yet when he has retired into himself, he will be like a celestial spirit that has a halo around him, with those circle of grief or folly ventures, within whose circle no grief or folly ventures. Will you smile at the enthusiasm I express concerning this divine wanderer? You would not if you saw him. You would have tutored and you who have been tutored and refined by books and retirement from the world, and you are therefore somewhat fastidious, but this only renders you the more fit to appreciate the extraordinary merits of this wonderful man. Sometimes I have endeavoured to discover what quality it is that he possesses that elevates him so immeasurably above any other person I ever knew. Okay, it is getting somewhat homo at this point. I believe it to be an intuitive discernment, a quick but never failing power of judgment, a penetration into the cause of things, unequalled for clearness and precision. Add to this a facility of expression and a voice whose varied intonations are soul-subduing music. Oh, his voice is like soul-subduing music to you, my friend. I think you have a crush. I think you are crushing. Screw what I said before about men being men to each other. If you're talking to about someone's voice being soul-subduing music and they are not singing, then you may have a crush. August 19th, 17-. Yesterday, the stranger said to me, "You may easily perceive, Captain Walton, that I have suffered great and unparalleled misfortunes. I have determined at one time that the memory of these evils should die with me, but you have won me to alter my determination. You seek for knowledge and wisdom, as I once did, and I ardently hope that the gratification of your wishes may not be a serpent to sting you, as mine had been. I do not know that the reflection of your disasters will be useful to you, yet when I reflect that you are pursuing the same course, exposing yourself to the same dangers which have rendered me what I am, I imagine that you may deduce an apt moral from my tale, one that may direct you if you succeed in your undertaking and console you in case of failure. Prepare to hear of occurrences which are usually deemed marvellous. Were we among the tamer of scenes of nature? I fear to encounter your unbelief, perhaps your ridicule, but many things will appear possible in these wild and mysterious regions, which would provoke the laughter of those unacquainted with the ever-varied powers of nature." Yeah, it does seem somewhat romantic, doesn't it, really? You rescued this stranger onto your boat, and they have this soul-soothing voice and a wonderful story to tell, and you fall in love. It is somewhat romantic. I do very much enjoy that idea. But many things will appear possible in these wild and mysterious regions, blah, 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 blah. Nor can I doubt that my tale conveys in its secrets internal evidence of the truth of the events of which it is composed. You may easily imagine that I was much gratified by the offered communication, yet I could not endure that he should renew his grief by a recital of his misfortunes. I felt the greatest eagerness to hear the promised narrative, partly from curiosity and partly from a strong desire to ameliorate his fate if it were in my power. I expressed these feelings in my answer. "I thank you," he replied, "for your sympathy, but it is useless. My fate is nearly fulfilled. I wait but for one event, and then I shall repose in peace. I understand your feeling," he continued, perceiving that I wished to interrupt him. But you are mistaken, my friend. If thus you will allow me to name you, nothing can alter my destiny. Listen to my history, and you will perceive how irrevocably it is determined. He then told me that he would commence his narrative the next day, when I should be at leisure. This promise drew from me the warmest thanks. I have resolved every night that I am not imperatively occupied with my duties to record, as nearly as possible in his own words, what he has regaled me during the day. If I should be engaged, I will at least take notes. This manuscript will doubtless afford you the greatest pleasure, but to me, who knows him, and who hear it from his own lips, with what interest and sympathy I shall read it in some future day. Even now, as I commence my task, his full-toned voice swells in my ears. His lustrous eyes dwell on me with their melancholy sweetness. I see his thin hand raised in animation, while the ligaments of his face are radiated by the soul within. Strange and harrowing must be his story, frightful the storm which embraced the gallant vessel on its course to wreck it. Thus, Chapter 1. Chapter 1. I may have lost my voice for a hot moment there, but we're finding it again, yes! How very interesting. Now, I am unfamiliar with this story, so we do not know if the man that he picked up is Professor Frankenstein himself, or Frankenstein's monster. Is it Professor Frankenstein pursuing his monster, or his monster pursuing Professor Frankenstein? Is it that the monster wants revenge for his creation? Or is it that the professor wants to put down his creator? We do not know, and we will find out. Just whip up a bit of magic tea for your throat, and you'll be right as rain. Yes, I will. That is correct. But for now, I just have water. I do not quite have time to whip up magic tea. Some au naturel water is more than satisfying. Yes. But for now, Chapter 1. We are 8% of the way through this book. That is wonderful. Obviously, you see Frankenstein and some of the other books on shelves in shops, and they are quite thick, so I did get a little bit worried. But it would seem, even with half an hour left of the stream, that we can get through a good 10%, which admittedly means maybe 10 streams to get through it. So this book may last over... Oh no, lordy. Not the yawn. Oh. This book may last over 10 streams, over October, but that will be fine. That will be fine. We will read as long as it takes. You can't stop magic tea into existence? Oh, well, my life would be so much easier if I could. It would be lovely, but no, I have to go through the steps. That making tea itself is magical, you know. Still worth the read. Indeedy-do it is, Ibrahim. Indeedy-do. It is 100% worth the read. I'm excited to continue. Chapter 1. I am, by birth, a Genovese, and my family is one of the most distinguished of that republic. My ancestors had been, for many years, councillors and syndicates, and my father had filled several public stations with honour and reputation. I would ask if you need a blanket, but that cloak is basically a blanket. Is it lined with fleece inside for maximum coziness? Yes! How did you know? It is very cozy. I will be very warm throughout October, that is for sure. Yay, November and the first half of December, Witch Brady. Yeah, well, I hope to be here forever, really. Yes. Anyway, where was I? He was respected by all whom knew him for his integrity and indefatigable attention to public business. He passed his younger days perpetually occupied by the affairs of his country. A variety of circumstances had prevented his marrying early, nor was it until the deadline of life that he became a husband and a father of a family. Oh, what am I saying? April 1st, Witch Briny 2. Witch Briny forever, don't you know? Witch Briny forever. Wait, it's the same Briny. It's the normal Briny. Briny forever. Briny forever. As the circumstances of his marriage illustrate his character, I cannot refrain from relating them. One of his most intimate friends was a merchant who, from a flourishing state, fell through numerous mischances into poverty. Which Briny? This Briny! Ho 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 ho! This man, whose name was Beaufort, was of a proud and unbending disposition, and could not bear to live in poverty and oblivion in the same country where he had formerly been distinguished for his rank and magnificence. Having paid his debts, therefore, in the most honourable manner, he retreated with his daughter to the town of Lawrence, where he lived unknown in wretchedness. My father loved Beaufort with his truest friendship, and was deeply grieved by his retreat in these unfortunate circumstances. Brainy forever. He bitterly deplored the false pride which led his friend to conduct so little worthy of the affection that united them. He lost no time in endeavouring to seek him out, with the hope of persuading him to begin the world again, through his credit and assistance. Beaufort had taken effectual measures to conceal himself, and it was 10 months before my father discovered his abode. Overjoyed at his discovery, he hastened to the house, which was situated in a mean street near Rhesus. But when he entered, misery and despair alone welcomed him. Beaufort had saved a very small sum of money, from the wreck of his fortunes, but he was sufficient to provide him with sustenance for months, and in the meantime he hoped to procure some respectable employment in a merchant's house. The interval was consequently spent in inaction. His grief only became more deep and rankling when he had leisure for reflection, and at length it took so fast hold of his mind that at the end of 3 months he lay on a bed of sickness, incapable of any exertion. Once more, this does sound somewhat homo. His friend left and he got sick because he was so sad about it. You could say he was suffering from a broken heart, I suppose. His daughter attended to him with the greatest tenderness, but she saw with despair that their little fund was rapidly decreasing, and that there was no other prospect of support. But Caroline Barefoot possessed a mind of an uncommon mould, and her courage rose to support her in her adversity. She procured a plain work. She plaited straw and by various means contrived to earn a pittance scarcely sufficient to support life. When your homie leaves with a hole in your heart, indubitably. Oh, the homies, they leave their home. If he had a broken heart, why couldn't he fix it with duct tape? Because then he would have to fix everything he cut open to get to the heart with duct tape, and I don't think duct tape is a good surgical method of fixing a heart. I wouldn't know, of course. Several months passed in this manner. Her father grew worse. Her time was more entirely occupied in attending him. Her means of subsistence decreased, and in the 10 months her father died in her arms, leaving her an orphan and a beggar. This last blow overcame her, and she knelt by Beerford's coughing and weeping bitterly. When my father entered the chamber, he came like a protecting spirit to the poor girl, who committed herself to his care, and after the interment of his friend, he conducted her to Geneva, and placed her under the protection of a relative. 2 years after this event, Caroline became his wife. There was a considerable difference between the ages of my parents, but the circumstances seemed to unite them only closer in bonds of devotion and affection. There was a sense of justice in my father's uptight mind, which rendered it necessary that he should approve highly of love strongly. Perhaps during former years he had suffered from the late discovered unworthiness of one beloved, and so was disposed to set a greater value on tried worth. There was a show of gratitude and worship in his attachment to my mother, differing wholly from doting fondness of age, for it was inspired by reverence of her virtues, and a desire to be the means of it, in some degree recompensing her for her sorrows she had endured, but which gave inexpressible grace to his behaviour to her. He did, in fact, drink the respect women juice. Ha ha! Everything was made to yield to her wishes and her convenience. He strove to shelter her as a fair exotic is sheltered by a gardener, from every rough wind and I may be struggling a little bit, yes, but it's fine. Everything's fine. I am a perfect reader. Of course I am, yes. He strove to shelter her as a fair exotic sheltered by a gardener, from every rough wind, and to surround her with all that could tend to excite pleasurable emotion in her soft, benevolent mind. Her health, and even the tranquillity of her hitherto constant spirit, had been shaken by what she had gone through. During the 2 years that had elapsed previous to their marriage, my father had gradually relinquished all his public functions, and immediately after their union, they sought the pleasant climate of Italy, and the change of scene and interest attended on a tour through the land of wonders, as restorative for her weakened frame. From Italy they visited Germany and France. I, their eldest child, was born in Naples, and as an infant accompanied them in their rambles. I remained for several years their only child,
Much as they were attached to each other, they seemed to draw inexhaustible stores of affection from very mine of love to bestow them upon me. My mother's tender caress and my father's smile of benevolent pleasure while regarding me are my first recollections. I was their plaything and their idol, and something better, their child, their innocent and helpless creature bestowed on them by heaven, whom to bring up to good and whose future lot it was in their hands to direct to happiness or misery, according as they fulfilled their duties towards me. With this deep consciousness of what they owed towards the being to which they had given life, added to their active spirit of tenderness that animated both, it may be imagined that while during every hour of my infant life I received a lesson of patience, of charity, and of self-control, I was so guided by a silken cord that I seemed but one of train enjoyment to me. That all seemed but one train of enjoyment to me. For a long time I was their only care. Hey, Bryony, can I see full witch model? I want to draw it later. Well, I suppose I can show you some more of this model. But, it is, but a cloak. It kind of does stop after a little while. So, that is all. You may take a small screenshot if you can stop that moment, if you would like to see the whole thing. But it is but an outfit, unfortunately, not a full model, yes. I'm perfect anyway. I did not need a new model, I was already perfect, yes. When I was about 5 years old, for a long time I was their only care. Mother had much desired to have a daughter, but I continued their single offspring. When I was about 5 years old, while making an excursion beyond the frontiers of Italy, they passed a week on the shores of the Lake of Como. Their benevolent disposition often made them enter cottages of the poor. This, to my mother, was more than a duty, it was a necessity, a passion, remembering what she had suffered, and how she had been relieved for her to act in her turn the guardian angel to the afflicted. During one of their walks, a poor cot in the folding of a veil attracted their notice as being singularly disconsolate. While the number of half-cloaked children gathered about and spoke of penury in its worst shape, one day when my father had gone by himself to Milan, my mother, accompanied by me, visited this abode. She found a peasant and his wife, hard-working, bent down by care and labour, distributing scantily meals to 5 hungry babes. Among these there was one which attracted my mother, far above the rest. She appeared of a different stock. The 4 others were dark-eyed, hardy little vagrants. This child was thin and very fair. Her hair was the brightest living gold, and despite the poverty of her clothing, seemed to be set in a crown of distinction on her head. Her brow was clear and ample, her blue eyes cloudless, and her lips of the moulding of her face so expressive of sensibility and sweetness that none could behold her without looking on her as of a distinct species, a being heaven sent, and bearing a celestial stamp in her features. The peasant woman, perceiving that my mother fixed eyes of wonder and admiration on this lovely girl, eagerly communicated her history. She was not her child, but the daughter of a Milanese nobleman. Her mother was a German, and had died on giving birth. The infant had been placed with these good people to nurse, and they were better off then. They had not been long married, and their eldest child was but just born. The father of their charge was one of those Italians nursed in the memory of antique glory of Italy. One among the, oh lordy, that's some Italian that I am probably going to butcher right now. Shiva. I will take a drink first. Right. Let us attempt this Italian. Chivari Ogniefrementi, who exerted himself to obtain the liberty of his country. He became the victim of its weakness. When he had died, or still lingered in the dungeons of Austria, was not known. His property was confiscated, his child became an orphan and a beggar. She continued with her foster parents and bloomed in their rude abode, fairer than a garden rose among dark-leaved brambles. When my father returned from Milan, he found playing with me in the hall of our villa a child fairer than a pictured cherub, a creature who seemed to shed radiance from her looks, and whose forms and motions were lighter than the camisoles on the hill. Greetings, folks! Welcome! The aspirations were soon explained. I am not in Bloodborne, I just simply have a witch outfit. Yes. He found playing with blah 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 blah. The apparition was soon explained. With his permission, my mother prevailed on her rustic guardians to yield their charge. They were fond of the sweet orphan. Her presence had seemed a blessing to them, but it would be unfair to keep her in poverty and want when Providence afforded her such powerful protection. They consulted their village priest, and the result was that Elizabeth Lavencia became the inmate of my parents' house, and my more than sister, the beautiful and adored companion of my occupations and my pleasures. Everyone loved Elizabeth. Well, what do you mean? My eyes have always been like this, and it is simply a wee bit of witch magic that is keeping me from wearing my glasses. Yes. Everyone loved Elizabeth. The passion and almost reverential attachment with which all regarded her, while I shared it, my pride and delight. On the evening previous to her being brought to my home, my mother said playfully, "I have a present for you, my Victor. Tomorrow he shall have it." And when, on the morrow, she presented Elizabeth to me as her promised gift, I, with childish seriousness, interpreted her words literally, and looked upon Elizabeth as mine to protect, love, and cherish. All praises bestowed upon her I received as made to a possession of my own. We called each other familiar names. Lordy. We called each other familiarly by the name of cousin. No word, no expression could body forth the kind of relation in which she stood to me, my more than sister, since Till death she was to be mine only. Oh, well, that's perfect timing! Because we are coming to the end of the stream! Thank you so much, everyone! I'm so glad you have enjoyed this stream and this time. What other secrets do I hide? Oh, none, of course, none! No secrets here! This is just Bryony Rose Smith live from the Bin Library, just being Bryony. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I don't have anything to reveal. Everything's fine. Nothing has gone wrong. Everything is perfect. Yes. Welcome, everyone, and goodbye, everyone. This has been Bryony Rose Smith live in the Forbidden Library. But first, oh yes, I have to do the shilling, don't I? Yes, the shilling. We have to do a shilling, where I tell you to go click all the links in the description. Yes. If you would like to have your own copy of this particular version of Frankenstein, there is a link in the description to Project Gutenberg, in which you can download it for free by yourself. It is a wonderful website. It always deserves more support. I have written a book, and you should go buy the book. Yes, there is links in the description for that, and there may or may not be promo codes on my other streams. Yes. And as you know, it is spooky month, yes. Oh, I say yes a lot, don't I? I probably should stop doing that. No. We'll just say no instead, yes. Which Bri should stay like this forever? Oh, Fox, you flatter me. But yes, I should. Yes, I should. I lost my train of thought, I really did. Oh no. Well, what was I saying? Oh yes, my schedule for next week. As you know, I do not want to play Minecraft. Minecraft sucks. Why would I ever play it? I don't know why I've been playing it from here on in, so Minecraft will be replaced by BioShock. I am very looking forward to playing BioShock. I think it would be a wonderful game to play for Spooky Month. You get which Briny merch too? Well, we will think about it. The problem is things and stuff, so I'll have to think about it. But, yes. Which Bri is based? Yes, absolutely based. No. I cannot marry you, Fox. I am so sorry. Yes, it is. It is a BioShock. You are so funny. So funny. I will be playing BioShock on Monday, Library Ruiner on Tuesday. I still don't know what I'm playing on Friday, because obviously I still want to play Higurashi. But we do have started Pokemon as well, so it does make me somewhat confused. Oh no. Anyway, I really hope you did enjoy this stream. I will be back next week with more Frankenstein, and I will have a schedule up tomorrow for my future streams. And next time, yes, I think that is all. That is all I say, is it not? Oh yes, there is one more thing I say, don't I? Yes, I say thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to everyone who lurked, and thank you to everyone who watches the VOD. I would appreciate it if you have not, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Oh yes, it would be so lovely if you could do that. I had fun. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Bryony Rose Smith live from the Forbidden Library. Goodbye.